In a historic move, the Supreme Court has for the first time publicly disclosed the asset details of 21 of its 33 sitting judges, including Chief Justice Sanjiv Khanna, who declared a fixed deposit of 55 lakhs, prompted by a controversy over alleged burnt cash found at a Delhi High Court judge's residence. The court's resolution mandated public disclosure, ending voluntary practices. This transparency push, which includes details of judicial appointments, aims to restore public confidence in our judiciary. Joining us now for more on this, Shraddhan Farasat and Kapil Sankla, both Supreme Court lawyers. Thank you very much for being with us. Shraddhan, let me come to you first. How will this mandatory public disclosure of judges' assets, which was mandated in a resolution, ensure greater accountability? Is it enough in terms of a measure or a step?
I'm not sure if it's enough, but it's certainly a good way forward because it was something which was being followed earlier as well. And in fact, if I recall correctly, say 10 years back, we would have assets of all the judges of all courts, Supreme Court and High Courts, uploaded on the respective websites. But I think through some non-compliances, that process was actually not being strictly followed. So I think it's effectively a reinitiation of what was already there. It's something which shows, in effect, what the assets of the people who are there. There's a level of transparency. Anybody in the public can examine. And along with this, there is a second thing which I also must point out today, which was disclosed by the Supreme Court, is in terms of the process of appointment of judges. I think there has been a detailed sort of memorandum which has come out, which is again available on the website, which details as to how the process of appointment of judges of Supreme Court and High Court happens, which are the different parties or entities or government bodies which are responsible. So I guess these are just moves towards transparency, because one of the criticisms of the judicial system is, or has been in the past, that it's too opaque. We don't know what the public doesn't know what there is behind the curtains, and this is a way to address that. Is it sufficient? Maybe not, but it's certainly a very good beginning.
Kapil Sankla, let me admit this question isn't entirely fair. Be that as it may, let me ask, what measures will the court implement to address discrepancies in asset declarations? I ask this because Justice K.V. Vishwanath's 120 crore investment, it's significant. So a lot of people watching this would be asking, my God, there's a judge with 120 crores in terms of investments. At the same time, there's nothing remotely to suggest that that's unfair, and he has a right to his privacy as well. So how does one address this, the right to privacy versus knowing the relative wealth of judges, some of whom may be significantly richer than others?
Imagine every politician, imagine every IS officer, IPS officer saying that I do not want to disclose my assets due to privacy reasons. Imagine what is going to happen. So if that doesn't happen, I think it is a move in the right direction. Coming to Justice Vishwanathan, he had an immensely successful practice before he became a judge of the Honorable Supreme Court. I think it is extremely commendable, and we should be proud of Justice Vishwanathan to have left such a lucrative practice and give his life and his soul to judiciary and to the people of India. So the difficulty in saying that, there is a privacy concern, is that this is exactly why for the last 25 years or so, many High Court judges had refused to disclose their assets, including what I just read is Justice Verma, who had disclosed his asset, but when you clicked on the link would say dummy PDF page. Mm-hmm. So therefore, a lot was being shoved under the carpet and everybody was afraid to ask. So it is a great move today that the judges have resolved to disclose their assets. I think it is a great move that we have an access to seeing what their income and their assets are, what has been earned by them, what has been generated through hard work, and what perhaps they have been bestowed upon because of their parents and grandparents, etc. As far as Justice Vishwanathan and many other judges who have had a very lucrative, very successful practice, I think we should feel proud of them that they could have left that and joined the practice. Joined the legal fraternity as judges.
Shraddhan, as I understand it, the public disclosure which has taken place is of 21 out of 33 judges. So it's not entirely complete at the moment, is it?
No, that is correct. I mean, it is 21. I'm speculating here, but my sense is that possibly the others will also come through. I don't think that it's a case where the others have said that it will not happen. I think we have an outgoing Chief Justice, and he possibly wanted all of this to come, during his tenure, because it seems like his initiative. So that's why we've had it at this time, but it will probably, the others should follow through. Sometimes if you don't have it ready, it takes time to collate all of it together. That might be the reason. Just on, Justice Vishwanathan, like my colleague said, he had an incredibly very, very good practice for more than 15 years as a senior counsel. And that he has in fact disclosed his annual income tax return of every year. And so have some of the others who were, directly elevated to the Supreme Court. So it's a very healthy practice. And if you look at from the perspective of the bar, when you look at those numbers and what we are aware of, they're not at all surprising, because if you have a very, very healthy and substantial practice in the Supreme Court as a senior counsel, then those numbers are what is expected. So it's in the interest of transparency. Yes, from a public perspective, you may think, oh, wow, that number looks big. But in that sense, it's actually something like my co-panelist said, it's a huge sacrifice, because as a practitioner, you make a lot more than as a judge. And that actually shows your commitment to the fact that you're willing to forego a lot of remunerative benefit for being a judge of the court.
Mrs. Ankla, will the publication of judicial appointment processes, alongside this asset disclosure, also go a long way in, guaranteeing or helping to guarantee the judiciary's impartiality? Because that was also there was a concern about opaqueness in that process.
There is a Hindi saying, "Chirag chale andhera." Unfortunately, what was happening is, fortunately, what was happening is that the people and the media had started to question the judiciary. We had many issues in the last few months. There is a latest case of 500 plus crores that we've been reading about. Then Justice Verma, then the High Court seniority issue that took place. All of them have seriously impacted judiciary. Then we also have a problem of kith and kin, where there is uncle judges, etc. So in the interest of complete disclosure, I think it is imperative, because judiciary cannot basically control with a swan, or cannot make any directions to people in general, except by the public perception that whatever judiciary would do is in the interest of people, the public at large, India as a nation, and therefore can direct the executive and can direct the other arms of the government to do what it thinks is right. Now, if we lose faith in judiciary, what remains? And therefore, under those circumstances, for them to come clean and to explain that these are the number of judges who perhaps have this kind of lineage, these are the number of judges that have come out from general category, from scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBC, etc., I think are extremely important and are necessary as well, considering what was happening. And I think it is garnering a lot of media and civil society approval as we speak.
Shraddha, a final word to you. In terms of more transparency, what would you like to see?
I think in terms of more transparency, the actual collegium decisions, there is a format which comes out. I think if some more details can come out in terms of the process, how it went through, even the recommendation, how it came from the High Court in each individual case, I think those will help. Also, I think one of the concerns has been that a lot of recommendations which have been made by the collegiums are just, the government is effectively selectively picking up. So if the collegium makes 5 recommendations, they pick up 3, they make them judges, 2, they just keep it on hold without taking a decision. So I think that's been a problem, without assigning reasons, even if the collegium has sent their cases which have been sent for the second time. So I think that is also a problem, because that takes away from, the genuine candidates who are awaiting judgeship, who also don't know if they are going to be made. So it impacts their, ability to practice in court daily. So I think that aspect needs to be resolved by the court. Whether they do it on the judicial side or in some other way, I think that also needs to be addressed, because, of course, the government on those issues has not been forthcoming with any transparency at all. So I think there is some level of transparency needed from the court further, but also from the government side as to why they have been selectively picking up some names and not following through on others.
Kapil Sankla, last word to you. You've got about a minute or so. What would you like to see in terms of more transparency? Okay, 2 minutes. How's
You
that?
see, transparency is the foundation of accountability. I mean, that's very clear. Disclosure of asset is just the beginning. I think we should continue to push for broader reforms. I think case management transparency, how many judges have passed positive orders, negative orders, how many have been challenged, etc. So that we also have a performance index of judges, especially in the High Court. I think we should have something like a judicial performance data that should be disclosed. And as far as, pick and choose of the central government is concerned, I would also like to see why and under what circumstances certain people are pushed either in the judiciary or as senior counsels, and what is the thought behind it. I think that is also necessary. It should come out. This is what my understanding is. Accountability.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank you both very much for being with us. It's a huge step today, one way or the other. The assets of judges will now be made, have now been made public. A few more judges, their assets will also likely be out, disclosed in public. This comes as a response to recent controversies, such as the alleged burnt cash incident involving a judge of the Delhi High Court. Perhaps there's a lot more to do, but this would go a long way in restoring faith among citizens with the judiciary.